How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Wolfpack podcast live with myself, Dan C, John, and special guest Ben Jacobs. Thank you very much, Ben, for joining us. Obviously, loads of transfer gossip to talk through, and probably one man in particular that everyone really wants to know about. And I don't have to tell you who that is. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Ben. I know you're a busy man. But
it's Dawson, right? By the way, the answer to that question.
Yeah. Of course it is. Of course, it's Craig Dawson. But yeah, if you're just joining us, get in the chat and get involved as well. We're going to be here talking about the games as well to come after, but we're going to go straight into transfer gossip. What's up, Carl? How you doing, mate? Hope you're good. Right, so I know that John has been raring to talk to you, Ben, about all things Wolves and transfer. So I'm going to actually now pass it to John, and I'm going to sip my lovely cup of tea. So take it away, John.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for coming on, Ben. Going to get straight into it because I know you're a very busy man. So firstly, the name everyone's talking about, Matheus Cunha. How close is the deal? We obviously see a lot of journalists talking about it. We're not sure if that's more like agent talk. Is it as close as people are making out for him to go to Man United?
Not yet, in the sense that Cunha's agent, when he feels it's close, to my knowledge, will fly over to England, and that hasn't happened yet. He made a trip a couple of weeks ago. He met with Cunha, but that was in Wolves, and it was more to discuss options with his players. Then there were meetings with several clubs, particularly Manchester United and Newcastle. So what we can say is Manchester United are leading the race because Cunha's sold on the Manchester United project. And part of that is because he's been pitched to as a number 10. You look at Newcastle, they play a 4-3-3. Unless Joe Linton's dropped, he's part of the front line. On the left-hand side, you've got Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon. Through the centre, you've got Alexander Isak, arguably the most informed striker in the Premier League. So maybe tactically a slightly different fit there. With Arsenal, Andrea Berta was, of course, the one that brought him to Atletico Madrid and also did the deal that saw him move to Wolves. So he knows him better than most. But again, Arsenal want a defined left winger and a number 9, and Cunha sees himself as a number 10. So Manchester United have kind of got the best pitch role-wise, and now they're starting to discuss terms, and from there it will be a case of Manchester United likely making a formal approach to Wolves. That hasn't happened yet. Most people are of the belief, including the suitors, that this 62.5 million number is fair market valuation, and therefore there won't be a great deal of club-to-club negotiation necessary. But Manchester United may want to go around the clause. They may want different payment terms. And we have to understand how willing Wolves are to be flexible in and around that number. So Manchester United have got a big green tick regarding, does Cunha want to play under Amorim in that number 10 role? Now they have to get a tick on terms. There was a Zoom meeting between Manchester United and Cunha a couple of days ago. There's another one scheduled for this week. If or when they agree terms, you've then got to get the deal done with Wolves as well. So Manchester United are in the box seat, but it's certainly not 100% done yet.
Okay, brilliant. Cheers for that. In regards to the instalments that's actually in the clause, we're under the impression that it's one lump sum that's quite a big fee, and then there's like a number of smaller instalments. Is that what you're aware of?
Yeah, release clauses tend to be in 2 or 3 installments. Some of them are just one lump sum period. It's not necessarily the case with this one, but I think over half the number is expected to be paid upon triggering the clause, and then the other installments are due, usually, if we're talking more broadly, in even payments. But in this case, I think Wolves very much negotiated Cunha's extension to make it as preferable as possible for them to reward the player in the short term and cash in the long run. So when we think about some clauses, we're talking about them being there to maybe ward off the market. You look at Vinny Jr. with €1 billion into his contract. That's not the case to my knowledge here. So this was a deal when Cunha extended that Wolves were very happy with, not just because he stayed in the short term and didn't leave mid-season, but because they put a number out there that they thought was very gettable. So I think Wolves don't see this 62.5 million in its structure, in its payment terms, or in its number as something they can't get. And that's why we have to just be a little bit cautious when reporting about Manchester United, because we know that their PSR position is a little bit tighter. And if, for example, Newcastle or another club said, we're just triggering it, we're giving Wolves everything that they want, then there would be a domino effect where the other suitors would likely have to match that approach. And if they didn't, then unless Cunha really digs in his heels and creates a situation like when Rafinha went to Barcelona over Chelsea, a club like Manchester United would likely have to move fast and match what another suitor does. So this is why Manchester United, because they can, have been above board but gone to the player side, and Wolves are aware of that, to try and get that full buy-in, because then maybe the other suitors back off. But we'll certainly get an interesting situation where if more than one suitor says to Wolves, we're prepared to trigger the clause, and Manchester United say, we want to dance around it a little bit, then you're going to be in a situation where things become a lot more complicated, and Manchester United could be at a bit of a disadvantage. But I think right now, it's more likely that Cunha will make his decision, Cunha will inform all suitors where he wants to play, and then only one club, potentially Manchester United, will formally go to Wolves, and that will make everything a little bit smoother.
Okay. And at the moment, is it more Premier League clubs, or have you heard anything across the pond? Is there any like Spanish clubs or German clubs, any other clubs that have you heard that are or have an interest, so to speak, or?
Yeah, at this stage, I'm not aware of too many foreign suitors. Cunha, I'm told, doesn't want to go back to La Liga. I don't think we're going to see Bayern come in, for example. And the expectation is that Cunha will stay in the Premier League. It's where he wants to be. He is very settled, and he feels like winning a Premier League, playing in the Champions League for another Premier League club is possible. I think we should note that he's enjoyed his time at Wolves, and Wolves have been very respectful and attentive to Cunha's situation as well. And by that, what I mean is, if you look at how Wolves generally deal with exits, a player comes in, and often when they join, they're told not that Wolves is a stepping stone, because that's completely disrespectful to Wolves, but that if they succeed and improve at the club, they'll have the opportunity after the right period of time and at the right price to move on. And we saw that with Jota, we saw that with Neves, and now kind of Cunha is next in line. And that's also because Wolves raised the valuation and might be able to bring in 2 or 3 for the money that Cunha's departure will generate. So as a consequence, when Cunha joined, he always felt like there might be a step up potentially to a big 6 club. And again, by step up, I'm not talking about stature of clubs, because Wolves is a massive club, great stadium, amazing fan base. So you could say right now it's a step down to Manchester United in terms of standard and league position and momentum, because Victor Pereira is finishing this season on a winning streak. But I mean, step up factually in terms of finances, and at the moment, for some of the suitors, European competition. So maybe one day Wolves will have the European competition, and Cunha might look back and say, I've gone like for like. But if you're only talking about money and you're only talking about the ability to play in Europe, Newcastle have already got it. Arsenal, if they enter the race, are going to get Champions League. Manchester United might be a semi-final or final away from getting Champions League as well. So those are the factual things that Cunha's looking at and saying, if I can get more money and I can get European competition, I can potentially continue to be a top player in the Premier League. And this is the appeal of him for staying in England. So I would be surprised if Cunha ends up being courted or ultimately moving to a team outside of the Premier League, because you've got 2 concrete suitors in particular in Manchester United and Newcastle that feel they can afford him and can do a deal quickly and can give him an increase in his pay packet. And from Cunha's perspective, he's perhaps not looking therefore beyond the Premier League.
Okay, brilliant. Cheers. In regards to obviously when he does go and we get the money, are you aware of any potential replacements, or are you aware of anyone that Wolves may be looking at in regards to when he goes? Is it the similar kind of position, more of a 10 they're looking at, do you know? Or
yeah, I think the Victor Pereira perspective is very much that in the build up to the summer, he's going to have a lot more say and direction. And this is his first kind of big window now at the club. And there'll be several positions where Wolves will look to strengthen. It's possible, to my knowledge, that a like-for-like comes in, and I think that's normal. It's also possible that they bring in more of a defined number 9, along with a kind of versatile, attack-minded frontline player who can play 10 or can filter into a wide area. And I think you could get 2 there, because although Strand Larsen has hit a little bit of scoring form, you're losing the Cunha goals. So regardless of where you classify Cunha's position, you're losing that amount of goals. And to get back that amount of goals through one player or one signing, it might lean itself more towards adding another 9. There's a possibility, of course, that Hwang departs. We know that there was interest from Marseille in previous windows. So I think Victor Pereira will be looking at that front line and saying, can I take that 62.5 million, assuming he's allowed to effectively spend all of it in conjunction with the recruitment team, maybe bring in a forward and then a 10 who can go into wide areas, or maybe bring in a forward and add another winger as well. And like I said before, Cunha might not be the only departure. I think Wolves and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall is going to be one to watch, from what I understand, because Chelsea may be willing to sanction a sale. Everton and West Ham are other clubs. And if you look at Dewsbury Hall in his Leicester days in that season under Enzo Maresca, he was playing as an advanced 8 in a central area, and he was in double digits as far as goals output and assists, albeit in the Championship. But Dewsbury Hall may be looking for regular game time with a view to somehow kind of forcing himself into the England setup, and Wolves could be one to watch there. I'm not aware yet of any significant out-and-out attackers who Wolves are specifically looking at. I can rule out Jamie Vardy. I know we've heard some reports that maybe Wolves are one of the clubs interested in him. What's true is that Vardy would like to still play in the Premier League. He'll have MLS and no doubt Saudi as options as well, but it's not a deal that Wolves are looking to do. They'll buy younger. One of the names that I've heard out there for Leeds and Wolves, but it's more like an internal conversation than necessarily a player that Wolves are actively approaching or working on. But they like the kind of profile of Cameron Archer at Southampton. They also like Troy Parrott, who has done very well since leaving Spurs. He's playing for AZ. I think he's got 14 goals in the Eredivisie and 20 in all competitions. But it's just whether a player of that form and caliber would be allowed to leave AZ, given he's only done one full season there. So those kind of profiles and names could be one to watch. And then we have to wait and see where else they're attentive for. Maybe there's still options to bring in a centre-back. They wanted, obviously, Kevin Danso. I know they were able to strengthen in January in that area, but they wanted Danso. He went to Spurs. Given that Dawson could depart, perhaps still the opportunity to bring in a defensive reinforcement. And then we'll have to wait and see whether, for example, Rayan Aït-Nouri gets any offers. It seems like we've been speaking about him leaving for window after window after window. Not a player I'm told Victor Pereira would like to leave. So I think Wolves would keep their option of fighting hard to keep him, rather than putting him in that category like with Cunha, of saying, okay, we will be very appreciative of your desire to maybe find a new challenge. I think they'd fight a lot harder, especially if there's other names and departures, because Pereira will want to keep this kind of core group together. So I think there's a realistic chance that Aït-Nouri could stay, but was he to depart, then you're obviously looking at some kind of fullback coming in as well. So it should be a busy window for Wolves, but I think the priority will be to find that sort of Cunha replacement and maybe add a number 9 as well to compete with Strand Larsen, and especially if Hwang is a player that does finally end up leaving.
Okay. Cheers, Ben. So another player kind of out the picture for most Wolves fans, but still definitely under contract under Wolves, is Fabio Silva, who's a striker at Las Palmas. He's getting quite a lot of attention, and I know the club want to sell him. I'm just wondering, are you aware of what clubs are interested in him, and also are you aware of what kind of fee it would take for Wolves to sell him?
Yeah, I think in terms of the fee, it's a difficult one, because the selling market knows that Wolves want to find a solution here. He's only 22, and as you say, he's not at the moment part of Victor Pereira's plans. So my expectation is that Silva leaves, and it is a matter of when rather than if. And then it's just about finding the right kind of club and obviously meeting the valuation as far as Wolves are concerned. The fee paid, remember, by Wolves was relatively high. So part of the Las Palmas deal has been about ensuring some income comes in ahead of a permanent transfer fee, and ideally trying to not make a book loss, because if anything, Silva's valuation has fallen down. if Wolves received an offer now of maybe 15, 20 million pounds, I think they'd be relatively delighted, and that's above the market valuation. And perhaps overall, with the Las Palmas deal and the wages saved, you start to think about roughly breaking even. So it's that kind of ballpark. Then in terms of who's interested, I've heard that there's actually Burnley who have made an inquiry. You've still got Al Shabab, who 2 windows ago were deciding on whether or not they could do a deal, and nothing really kind of came of it in the end. And it was Daniel Podence, obviously, was the player they ended up doing the deal for. That would be interesting because Shabab is, of course, Pereira's old club. I don't know if they're going to come back in for Silva at this stage. And then I've heard there's a couple of German clubs who are looking relatively closely at Silva, particularly Hertha Berlin. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how it develops. It's still very early stages. And the other thing in all of this in terms of that valuation is that now, regardless of the player and his age and his high ceiling, I think we're talking about a situation, correct me if I'm wrong, where his contract expires in 2026. So then with a year left, that sort of 15, 20 million that they'd be delighted with halves potentially, because the suitors are saying Wolves want to find a solution. Time is ticking away on the contract. So it might be quite hard for Wolves to get the fee that maybe they're looking for.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers, man. So another one, because I know you haven't got much time, but maybe one last question. So we know Nelson Semedo, his contract's running out very shortly, and he's in discussions with Wolves. Are you aware of any clubs that have maybe spoke to him or look at making offers at a free transfer?
Yeah, Nelson Semedo, I expect to be in demand. As you say, it's a market value opportunity, 31 at this stage. So maybe the age starts to put a few clubs off. One inquiry that had come in was from MLS and NYCFC. And I think the player wasn't particularly keen about going over to America at this stage of his career. There's been some tentative interest from Spain and Turkey as well. And again, Saudi, as you would expect, are across this kind of deal, but not interestingly one of the big PIF run clubs. So I would keep an eye actually on some of the smaller Saudi Pro League sides for Semedo, where he'd still be able to make some good money, but not necessarily the astronomical figures that sometimes you're reading in the media. And I think the player, from what I'm told, might be open to a Saudi move on the right terms. It was Al Khalij, who was the club that inquired about his situation in January and pitched the project to him. And they would still need some sort of central funding to pull off the deal. But Saudi can't be ruled out either. But I think that's a good market value opportunity for some teams looking for a bit of leadership and experience. And, you know, he's still only early 30s, so it's not like he can't play for a season or two. But I'm not aware of a great deal of like rival Premier League interest at this stage of people that want to take a punt. But Leeds might be one to watch, because I think they'll be looking for experience. I think they'll be looking for a fullback. And the only thing that might put them off Semedo is more likely, to my knowledge, that Leeds will be going for a left-sided rather than a right-sided fullback. So we'll have to wait and see how they move, and if by moving into the Premier League, they feel like an experienced player of his caliber is somebody that they choose to escalate. Because at the moment, these are just sort of internal discussions and names of a lot of these clubs, because we're still a little bit out in terms of before the window opens. But I don't think Semedo will be short of suitors.
Brilliant. Okay, cheers, Ben. I know you said you've got to shoot off now, but really appreciate your time, and thanks for answering those questions.
Yeah, of course. It's always a pleasure. Keep up the good work. I always enjoy seeing the podcast, and it's great to see Wolves out of danger and Victor Pereira building a bit of momentum. So good luck in the final few games, and let's hope that Wolves have a busy summer.
Ben, before you go, what do you think the score prediction will be for Friday against Manchester City?
Well, I mean,
what a question.
It's away. City have got a lot more at stake now than Wolves. I don't dare come on a Wolves podcast and say Wolves are going to lose, so I will go for 2-2.
Brilliant. Okay, cheers, Ben. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. All the best. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you, mate. There you go.
Ben Jenkins.
Ben Jenkins. Mate, I couldn't believe that. I was there drinking my tea, and then I saw that and I was like, "What's he on about?"
What someone commented that
No, it was just the announcement at the bottom. Somebody spelled wrong.
Oh no.
I got you
Never
back,
mind. Anyway, guys, listen, we're a bit early because Ben is a very, very busy gentleman. He's with Chelsea at the moment, and they're doing obviously lots of busy things, which is absolutely fine. And we've had to come on earlier, obviously, to get him on the show. And I really, really just want to say thank you so much, Ben, because obviously he's in a lot of demand, and to be able to spend any time with us at all is just wonderful. And you know, we've had him a couple of times on the show now, and every time he comes on, he never ceases to amaze me how much he can get out in like the course of a few minutes. Do you know what I mean? Like a few minutes, whack, whole paragraph of information, and you're just there going, "Thanks, Ben." But yeah, man, that was really cool. Well, I learned a little bit about where suitors might be coming from. Well, I was a little bit surprised actually about like some of the like American teams that interested in some of our players. That's quite new, isn't it? Really, I've not really had any MLS interest for a long time. But yeah, if you're just joining us, guys, please check us out on all social medias. Facebook, we got X back. I have to keep saying it because it's the best thing in the world, isn't it? We're over on YouTube and everything. So give us a follow, give us a subscribe, like, and all that. Do all the things that you normally do. But yeah, that was really good having Ben Jacobs on. And we are now going to go into the game that we just played against who did we play?
Leicester.
Who did we play?
We played Leicester.
Little old Leicester.
If you remember, Dan,
yeah.
One of us predicted the correct score. And I believe it was me.
Did you?
It's true.
Did you?
Yes,
mate.
I actually didn't know that.
Oh, I did. That's first time I've ever got a score right ever. So
yes,
I'm
mate.
chuffed.
That is class. You know what?
Okay.
I'm actually gonna move this if I can. Can I do it? Can you do it? I want to. Can I move it? Do you know how to move windows on this or not?
Nope.
I think I figured it out.
Nope. There we go.
Yes, because I was thinking I didn't want to be here because when we were on this originally, I thought my face was being covered up, but it wasn't after, and I watched it and it looks a bit weird. It must be on the side, so I fixed it. There we go. But anyway, we're going to talk about that wonderful, wonderful win against Leicester. 6 wins in a row. And I wasn't surprised as such because I thought, it's Leicester and they just look like they're just absolutely done. But luckily, actually, we were more than good enough in this game. We were unbelievable. Let's look at how we lined up. You look at these scores, it is gorgeous to look at, isn't it?
Even our lowest rated player is higher than their highest.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So we started with Sarr in goal, Totti Gomez, Agbadu, Doherty at the back, Aït-Nouri, Semedo on the sides, and Andre Gomez and in the middle, and Cunha and Munetsi as 10 winger hybrid things, and Stan Larsen as a forward number 9. And honestly, I can look at all those players and I can honestly safely say that every single one of them performed. It was really good to see a full match, first half and second half, of a team that just knew they could win and just had loads of confidence. And I don't actually remember being that assured throughout a whole football match this season. It just felt like we were going to win, even when we weren't scoring and we were just like, missing chances. It just looked like at any moment their goals were gonna come, and we haven't had a game like that for a while. Jonathan, what did you think of this game?
So firstly, I was there. I was in the Molineux, and yeah, unbelievable game. And for me, the midfield really stood out. We just know that Andre and Joe Gomez, just work so well together. And this was a game where you could really see that they're just unbelievable, and they just mop up everything. So it was one of those games where we just won the midfield. Cunha was dropping back. Some games he can be lazy. We know that. We've seen the stats. Sometimes he does like doing a bit of walking, but he was actually all about the pitch, dropping back, getting the ball, running forward, being more of that number 10 role that he usually plays, dropping back. And I just thought it was a brilliant game. Even Larson, for example, he obviously had that shocking miss, but then to still have his confidence, to still continue going, and then to score, and then to laugh about it. There's a lot of players that play for example, Man United, that would have missed that, and their heads would have just been down for the whole game, and that would have been it, confidence ruined. But the fact that we're at a point now where we can even laugh about mistakes like that, and we can keep on going, and we can get goals, and it was a fantastic goal. The ball, firstly from Cunha, and then the final finish from Larson, it was unbelievable. And everyone had a good game. I was thinking maybe the only person that I thought maybe wasn't quite at 100% there was Minetti. But then I think sometimes you feel like that watching
him. He will hunt you down for saying that.
To be honest, I look back at his stats. He had a 95% pass completion. Which is unbelievable. And that just shows that even though you think he might be having a bad game, actually, he did really well. And that's probably one of the main reasons why we actually did do so well as we did and got those 3 goals, was because he's doing the donkey work, and he goes on pretty much unnoticed.
He's under like scrutiny, because I think like he does all the stuff that you don't really necessarily highlight in a football match, isn't he, really?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he does all the really hard work and everything, and I think a lot of that goes unnoticed. But when you actually dig deep and look at the goals that were scored, like the Cunha goal, for example, if you look at who's on the far post, Munetzi's literally making that run and pulling away defenders.
Yeah.
Because Cunha probably doesn't have as much space as he does there without Strand Larsen and Munetzi being behind him.
Yeah. 100%. So his off the ball work is fantastic, and I'm going to put my hand up. When he first came, I was thinking the same. I wasn't criticising, but publicly, but in the back of my mind, I was thinking where exactly does he play, and what does he actually offer? But then when you start looking deeply at him, looking at his stats and stuff, he does a lot of donkey work, and he runs so much non-stop. He's got a proper engine on him. But yeah, it was a fantastic game, and even Jose Sarr, what a save! I know it wasn't the best penalty, but to go the right way, to still save it, to not really have any trouble throughout the game. His distribution was good. It's just one of those games where you could pick everyone, and really everyone did well.
Yeah, I'm glad you sort of talked about his distribution, actually, because I think it's improved under Vitor Pereira. Like a lot. Like I don't remember too many absolute glaring mistakes from him, and I always remember like under Gary O'Neill, it was like one every game, every single game.
Yeah, it's more confidence, I think.
I think it's because the Agbadu's in front of him. I do. I think it's because he knows that there's a decent centre back in front of him who's got so much confidence and flair, and he's just like, you know what? It is what it is. Like, if he passes me the ball back, I know he's going to be in some space and he's going to receive the ball. Or you've got Andre on the turn. Do you know what I mean? He's got so much in front of him to be able to play around. And I think he's just got that confidence now. And I see that throughout the entire team. The confidence now is flowing like crazy. Like, even the bench. I reckon any of those players that came off that bench, they would have shown up for this manager in this game. Like, it just looked like everything he touches at the moment is turning to gold.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun. But yeah, I mean, anything else you want to say about the game, John, while we're at it?
Yeah, I was just going to say the substitutions were great. He seems to get it right every time. We had problems before, didn't we, with Gary O'Neill, where fans were calling him out saying he wasn't doing the right subs at the right time. But we've got a real manager now that really knows game management, and he really knows when to bring them on, when to bring them off, who's getting at risk of a second yellow card, and it just shows the experience he has. And you can see behind the scenes, he's working with players and they're coming off the bench and they're a lot better than they were previously.
Oh,
You can
God,
see that Sarabia now, what he's doing in training with Sarabia, bringing out a better version of him. You can see that in Rodrigo Gomez, and it's no surprise to me because if you look back at his previous clubs, for example, when he was in Turkey, he was always good at bringing the best out of, especially younger players like Rodrigo Gomez, really working on what they're good at and really building on that. And you could see that for his goal, the pace he had, the intelligence to go into the right space, and then the finish. That would all be down to the manager and what he's doing in training. And I think with that player especially, we've got a real good player for the future. And I think
our wing backs getting high it's got to be an instruction, hasn't it? It literally seems like every attack is like a ball going wide to one of our fullbacks.
Yeah,
you know,
and
then
it really interests me with what we've heard from the Express and Star that Hugo Bueno is going to come back, because really we haven't got too much backup for the left. For the left wing back, I know people say Totti can play there, but really I don't think you'd want to do that. So the fact that we've got Hugo Bueno coming back, and we've also got Rodrigo Gomez that maybe played more as a further forward up the pitch. We've got so much competition, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do with Hugo Bueno, because we've already seen he's been playing Champions League games. He's been putting in some unbelievable balls. So yeah, the future looks really good, especially for the wing backs, and potentially could be even wingers if the manager starts training them.
Just to let you know, Joshy, who's just joined, Ben was here. He had to get here a lot earlier though. We were supposed to start at 7:30, but he had to get here early because he had stuff to do. So we've already actually had Ben on the show. He was right at the start of the show. But what I'll do is I'll write all your questions down and everything, because we were in conversation with him on X. So if there's any questions or whatever, like I'll compile a couple for him if we get round to it, and I'm sure we'll get him on again. To be fair, like probably during or after the window, so not to worry. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, Dancy sat there, lovely and quiet.
Yep, that's
lovely
me.
and quiet. So, what did you think of this game? 3-0 against Leicester at home.
I think, like John nailed it with you nailed it. 2 good halves. It's one of the first games I've seen this season with 2 good halves. Normally, you can get a performance out of 1. And the atmosphere at Molineux was fantastic. I was there. The South Bank was singing all the match. Bit of like humour. They were singing 6 in a row, and then the penalty came on, and then they were singing 5 in a row, and it's very Black Country humour, hilarious. So Aït-Nouri, it's good to see him with a bit of confidence this time. Actually trying to take some people on, cut inside. Yeah, he ran nowhere a couple of times, but he tried a couple of back heels. They worked really well. Venezia, you've said it. He's the workhorse. Nothing glamorous. He's doing stuff that goes under the radar. Badu didn't get out of first gear for me. He was cruising the whole time. He was taking the piss out the strikers half the time. Just
he is actually, he is class, isn't he? I'd say he's one of our best players, to be honest.
I think
if I think of our starting 11 next season, he gets in every single one, doesn't he? Like I can't think of a team where he wouldn't get in. He's unbelievable.
Whoever you put him on doesn't do anything all match. It's
literally,
not a chance. I saw Vardy bounce him off him about 10 times during the match.
It was hilarious, wasn't
it?
And the thing is, I think what makes him even better is that he's got the likes of like Andre and Joe Gomez in front of him as well as guards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you get through us, then you got him, and it's like it just makes attackers shit themselves. Like they can't figure out how to break us down now. And when we had Gary O'Neill down, fuck me, like our defense was honestly it was shaping up to be the worst in the Premier League.
It was
like even if you put Southampton into that firing line as well, I genuinely think if we'd have kept Gary O'Neill, I reckon we'd have gone down, and not only gone down, I think we'd have gone bottom. I actually think Southampton would have got a little bit more of a go about them, because they'd have looked at us above them and gone, "Is that it?" Like they're getting goals scored for fun, so you know what I mean. We'll probably try a bit harder.
Also, a shout out for Rodrigo Gomez for that 65-meter run, 33
Right, from the
kilometers
throw-in as
per
well.
hour. Yeah, he started it, and just that kid is just something special. I tell you, he so wants to play and do well. He can see it. You can see it in him.
It reminds me of when Neto first joined. Actually, he's got that like bit of like go about him, and do you know what I mean? Looks like he's got an extra gear to him that a lot of our players don't have after like a certain amount of time in the game. I think he'll be a really, really good player for us. But then again, I was quite surprised that we haven't seen him so much in the season, really, considering how well he was in the preseason.
Yeah,
I think he was probably one of our best players in the preseason.
He was. Him and Lima were just fantastic. We've not seen him really, have we?
But this is it.
I've got a feeling it could be more maybe the hierarchy, just saying, just be careful because of their age. We saw that a little bit with previous players. Like I remember when we first bought Podence, we bought him in the January. He didn't have a game really, did he? Till that I think it was against Everton, which was like April, May. So I think I think there's sometimes because of their age. It's the same with Pedro Lima. I think they like to protect him a little bit.
Which you can understand, to be fair.
Yeah. How many players get ruined, especially by the big teams, by getting...
Looking at United.
Yeah, looking straight at United. And probably Tottenham.
Nice to see Forbes come on as well. That was nice.
Yeah.
Did 4 passes.
There was some good cameos, actually. Mate, do you know what? I want to keep Sarabia, you know. How many times has he come off the bench and actually done something for us?
Someone said something to me after the game, and they said, how hard is it when you look at all the teams, especially at the bottom of the table, just to find a player that's attacking, that's Premier League quality? You'll let him go on a free, and then you'll try and bring people in, and it won't work. You bring in a Fabio Silva, and he's not quite ready, whereas you've got someone that's ready, already knows the squad. Like, he could be it could be a real big mistake to let him go, I think.
Wouldn't it make more sense just to let Semedo and Sarabia have extended contracts than it would to just risk a random signing?
The fan base aren't like that, though, are they? They like signings.
Yeah. The only problem we've got is that we have too many foreign players. We can't even register Mosquera at this moment in time. Someone's going to have to go just so we can register him. Depending on whether they want to give Saka
I think Mane
a chance, he can't get registered. Yeah,
they're looking at him, I think, to sort of make the first team.
Yeah,
that back line next year: Totti, Agba, Mosquera.
Yeah, big shout, but I can see Santi.
That's terrifying.
I can see Santi maybe going out on loan just purely to free up space. They probably would want to keep him, but I think that somehow they've got to free up space with a foreign player. And I think you might see the same with Boubacar Traore, just to get a bit more space in the squad. And I think out of everyone, the one person I think needs to be sold and free up the space is unfortunately Hwang. I think that would be the first player I would look at moving on to bring some space would be him.
Are they going to do that, though? Are they going to risk all of those Korean fans that are buying shirts of his? Because I think his name on a shirt is the second most popular name in the club shop.
After Manetzi, isn't it? I think.
After Manetzi, of course, and that's just good. Dan C's bought every single strip.
I do feel like if he stays and he has one more bad season, his market value's pretty low now. It wouldn't be too low because of his commercial revenue that he creates.
His injury record's terrible.
That's the thing. I think another season, if he plays bad and has more injuries, he's going to be right down the bottom. I think it would actually be the sensible thing to sell him.
I could see him going to like Ben Jacobs was saying, like an American team.
Yeah,
he fits that kind of vibe for me.
He'd probably do really well. He's less demanding on his body, so he probably wouldn't be as injured as much. He'd be able. He's obviously probably lost a bit of pace now, a little bit with
not
his
much
injuries.
contact in the American football. Well, there is the American football, but in football in America.
Yeah,
that's a great quote. I'm putting that.
What a quote!
Yeah,
what a quote.
Speaking of quotes, get that off the chat on here now. Put that chat. That Maximus right.
What's he say?
Listen, let's see his class. Yes, he is.
Oh my god! Literally, you are his fanboy. I swear, it's
I am.
creepy.
Yeah. Get him on here next. I'll be like,
But yeah, I mean, this game was massive because, like, we genuinely, like, as Wolves fans, none of us thought we were going to lose this football match. But even like the idea of having 6 in a row, like, it didn't phase any of the players, did it? It didn't, like, it was like, it is what it is. It's a football match. We'll win it, and then we'll move on. I mean, we're going to come up to the City game in a minute. That's going to be interesting. I want to hear from you guys in the chat from this point forward, as the end of this until the end. What is your City? What is your Man City prediction? Because it's going to be interesting, man. 6 in a row wins. We've beaten Tottenham. We've beaten United. So that's some of the bottom teams around us. Leicester, you know, we've got some good wins. Wolves have, to be fair, but I'm just looking at this Man City win now, and I'm Man City win. There we go. I've said it. We're looking at this Man City game, and I'm just thinking, you know what? What have we got to lose, man? They've got a lot more to lose than we do, in my opinion. Like, they've got to keep this up now, really. You know, have they got Haaland out as well?
He's just
he's out, yeah.
Fab's just put a tweet around half an hour ago, and there's pictures of him. He was back in training a few hours ago at City.
He'll probably be on the bench then.
Yeah, probably on the bench, and I think Rodri could be on the bench, which
that's bad.
Thank God he's not fully fit, because he is unbelievable midfielder. I don't think he was on the bench at all, was he, the last game? Yeah, I really doubt either of them will be on. Will be starting, but you may see him both on the bench. But yeah,
a lot of people are saying 2-2. You know, Joshy. A lot of people are saying 2-2. Even Ben Jacobs said 2-2.
The thing is, at the moment, is I think our defence is unbelievable, and I don't even care about how good Manchester City's attack is. I think put Agba against them, and do you know what I mean? You've just got so much confidence in the defence at the moment that I think
Dawson pocketed Haaland last season.
Yeah,
so Agba shouldn't have a problem at all, should he? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Mate, honestly, Sutty, 2-1 Wolves. Honestly, you know things are going well when bloody Sutty is giving us positive results. Jesus wept. That's amazing. I wouldn't have ever predicted that he would be the one to say anything like that, under Gary O'Neill. So Vitor Pereira has done actual miracles, man, to be able to turn things around at this point. But yeah, 6 wins in a row. That is absolutely madness. And I mean, if we make it 7, is that the first ever time? It would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's all. We haven't done this. 4 in a row was the first one, wasn't it? And then since we're we're pioneering territory here.
He could literally be like, the thing is, if we beat City and we beat him convincingly, for me, that solidifies that it's the manager that's created all this, because we probably would have maybe got some decent results against the struggling United and Spurs and Leicester. You know, they're like maybes, whereas this one is like, really, it should be City winning. It's them at home. Do you know what I mean? And them obviously pushing for a better space, up top. So really, City should be winning. But if we win this, I tell you what, a lot of eyes will be on Vitor Pereira. And I said this on my review. Should we be a little bit worried now? 6 wins in a row. What if we get 7th win against Man City? Should we then be starting to be a little bit worried about the players that played in that game if we do beat City, and also Vitor Pereira? Like, surely people will be sniffing around us then, John.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. The only thing I would say is I don't know if that's still enough in the Premier League to warrant maybe a bigger club coming in, because I think if a club came that's maybe similar kind of size of Wolves, maybe someone like Fulham or Crystal Palace or something like that, I don't think he would look at that and think, I'm going to make the move. So it would have to be a bigger club. And I just don't know if they'd take the risk, especially a team, for example, like Tottenham. They're probably going to lose their manager, and they're probably going to need someone.
They should. Jesus Christ.
They should lose them. But I feel like
I can't believe he's still in the job.
There's going to be that much pressure on the team to get that manager right. I don't think his number of games he's had in the Premier League would be enough for them to justify bringing him in. Just in case this is a fluke. I'm not saying it is a fluke, but just in case, I think they'd be looking for someone a bit of a bigger name, someone that's been at maybe more bigger Champions League kind of clubs. I know he's been at Porto and stuff like that, but they'll be looking for. So yeah, I think maybe he hasn't just had enough time. I think maybe next season we've got a big chance of potentially losing him if he gets a few more games under his belt and we get a few more wins. But what he's doing at the moment is fantastic, and I know from fans from other clubs he's done very similar. For example, in Turkey, the only reason he got sacked was because of a disagreement with is it Ozil that was at originally Arsenal. Yeah. They had a disagreement in the changing rooms, and I think he basically said, "Right, I'm going." So he didn't. I don't think it was actually like a sacking. I think it was a disagreement, and they were on the players' side, and he ended up walking away. But apparently, he'd transformed the team. He'd made them solid, and we already know what kind of players he brought through. Like that, he brought through Arda Güler from Real Madrid, who was a 19-year-old. He was 19 years old. He was in the under-19s team. No one had even looked at him, and he brought him in, and he's now playing for Madrid. He obviously brought in the I think it's Chinese centre back at Bayern Munich. Kim Lee or something like that. Brought him in. So yeah, he's brought in some fantastic players. It developed him in Turkey, and now they've gone to have really great careers. The left back at Brighton, he was originally through Piera, and apparently he was a number 10, and he had no budget for a left back, and they said you've got to do with what you've got. So he started training him. He was a number 10, started training him how to play as a left back, and now he went to Brighton, I think, for 35 million, and he's also the left back for the Turkish national team. So it just shows we'll probably see that more and more in the future, what he can do in the training with some of the youth players. We've seen it already with Rodrigo Gomez's goal. So yeah, really interesting and exciting times ahead really with him.
It is exciting, but I said on my review, and if you haven't watched that, I think you should, because that's probably one of the most emotional reviews I think I've done for a while. I was just like, kind of in awe about it, but at the same time, I have to be a little bit more, assured, really, considering what's happened in the past when things have been going well, and then we've gone into a new season and it's gone to actual shit. And I just think so much is going well right now, but our owners have to back Vitorno. They have to. They've got no choice. Like, that he has done everything. Probably more. Well, he's definitely done more than was asked of us. The only thing he was asked of us was to keep us in the Premier League, not to make us look like we're going to be unstoppable next season. That's ridiculous. So we have to back him. We have to back him, and I mean back him. Do you know what I mean? I mean give him everything we can give him, and just see how it goes next season. Because this season was a write-off from a few matches in, weren't it? Really, we just looked not with it. Players didn't look good enough. Manager didn't really look like he had many ideas, and we were having to a bio-win almost. It felt like.
And also, they didn't bring in the defender that I think he really was trying to push for.
Yeah.
On deadline day, we were trying to get a defender over, weren't we, in the summer? And obviously, we had the ACL injury to Mosquera, which, to be fair, is no one's real fault.
No, it's not.
It just left us in the crap, didn't it? So I think they'll learn from that. Which I suppose that, to be honest, for me, defensively, I don't think we need anyone new. We can let Dawson go. I think we've got enough cover now.
We've got Jiga as well, haven't we?
Exactly. Yeah, we've got. I think the defence is good now. I think the potential of Yerson coming back and potentially playing as a right-sided centre-back in competition for with Doherty, that's going to be one hell of a back line. Because we remember how we were really praising him before he got injured. He looked fantastic, and it was a bit of a shithouse, wasn't he? He was making me laugh.
We were begging for him to stay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wanted to go back to Spain, didn't he? But we were like begging him to stay,
Yeah.
and then he does, and then that happens. And the scary thing is, we haven't seen him under Vitor Pereira.
No, we haven't. And for Villarreal,
Do you know what I mean?
the fans were saying he was fantastic when he was on loan there. I remember watching the game against Real Madrid, and they actually played him as a right back, and he was fantastic. He was unbelievable. He was cutting in and helping out as well, like almost slotting back in as another centre back, and then going out and attacking. And he got an assist that game, and he was just unbelievable, fantastic. And the fans over there in Spain were just saying he was one of the best players they had, and they were doing everything to try and get the owners to buy him. But Wolves were obviously determined for him to come back and pretty much be the replacement for Kilman. But what's interesting, I think, as well, is from what I've heard, is the manager has got a great eye for talent. And the fact is, we hadn't heard of Auba before he came in.
No.
And our understanding is that he picked him. He looked at the stats and basically said to the board, this is the player I want. And he did very similar in Turkey. He turned and said he wanted this one player from the Chinese league that no one had heard of. He was minimal money. I think it was like 1 million quid. And I think he's now valued at 60, 70 million pounds at Bayern Munich. And the manager at the time just found him through stats, through data. In his spare time, he found this defender in the Chinese league. So what can he do?
Yeah.
62.5 million.
Yeah.
Plus, we're going to get Morgan Gibbs White add-ons. We're going to get money for Fabio. He's probably going to have 100 million euros just from them three alone, which we know is definitely going to come in. Nottingham are going to make Europe. Fabio's going to go. We know that already. There's clubs already had advanced talks. Sky Sports Germany saying there's a massive demand for a young striker, so he will go. And that's a lot of money. And if they can really say to him, tell us who you're looking at, and they are scouting what he's doing and his team.
I reckon they're already doing that, to be fair.
I think they are. And I think whatever happens, whatever the player comes in, it's probably going to be someone we've maybe not heard of. We've just got to back him because he's probably said, this is the player I want, and it will probably work. But the only thing that worries me is we haven't got any space in the squad. So we may have to be patient. Hwang, unfortunately, Sarabia, Cunha's going to free up a space. Fans are going to go mad when Cunha goes for us to buy loads of players in. But the club would be stupid for Cunha to go and for them to bring in 2 or 3 foreign players if we haven't got the space to even register them. So everyone's going to have to be really patient. But as soon as Cunha goes, they've got to get one in. But
I was going to say, like you said, that that Vitor's good at getting stuff from Turkey. The only thing Gary O'Neill was good at getting from Turkey with his teeth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The attack is the worry for me. We're going to need a lot of goals with Cunha, Sarabia and Guedes and possibly Hwang leaving, says Joshy. And I agree with that. That is definitely something. And I mean, maybe even ignore it. Honestly, like, we could have a season next season where we keep some key players, buy some really good players and absolutely go off on one. Or we could be in the shit at selling all of our key assets and having a load of money. And the only thing we've got to celebrate with all that money is a nice lick of paint on Molineux and a new Sudu strip.
For me, we've got to do something that we haven't really done previously, and that is go for someone that's actually got a decent goal and assist record. So, for example, Neto was a fantastic signing, but it took a while for him to really build up in the squad. And
We need someone straight away.
Yeah, you
like,
need someone that's
really.
we need someone that's going to go first game into the Prem.
Because if you think Cunha was doing decent, but he wasn't like absolutely pulling up trees, and it probably only took him like a season, maybe even half a season, to look like a good player. Do you know what I mean? He looked like he'd fit in pretty quickly, really. If you think about it, in terms of a football career, like one Premier League season is nothing really when you think of a whole career as a footballer. And now he just looks like he belongs in the Premier League. He could be one of the Premier League greats. I genuinely believe that, actually. Only thing is, I'm going to talk about it. I don't want to, but I'm going to. With the Cunha situation, with him going to United, I said it in my review, I couldn't think of a team other than Spurs, maybe, it just doesn't make sense to me. I just couldn't think of a team worse at the moment. Like, and I'm not just saying on the football pitch. I'm on about in general, like the way the clubs are run. And where we saw the problems with Cunha is he couldn't handle pressure.
Yeah.
He absolutely caved under pressure. Lamina was the same. Dawson was the same. All these players absolutely cave under pressure. And then they look absolutely amazing. And when they're all, when he saw sunshine and rainbows, they're absolutely off, and they're just incredible. That's why he needs to go to a team that's winning all the time, because it'll make him it will make him a world star. Going to United, he is going to get pelters every single day from them.
Yeah, he will. He will.
Every day.
Believe he's got the opportunity of Newcastle or Man United, and he's picking Man United over. I think Newcastle would. I know
there's got to be an agent thing that has, man.
Yeah, I know the formation isn't probably to his liking of where he'll fit in, but I do think that Newcastle is a much better move for him. I think the fans are quite good there. I think it's a great atmosphere. I think the manager's great.
Him and Guimaraes as well would be mad. Yeah, that would be insane.
They're pretty well run, aren't they, as well? I know they've had a few bad transfers, but apart from that, they've had a few great ones as well. But they're a good team. They keep on bouncing back, and I think it would be a fantastic move for him to go Newcastle. But I don't know what it is. I feel like he just wants to be centre of attention, and he knows that maybe United haven't got that many key players, and he would be there. Him and Bruno would be there.
A little bit like Bruno Fernandes, actually, to be fair, because I don't really think he's that great, but I think under Man United, he's their best player.
Yeah.
By far, and it's not even close, to be honest. He's the only player that consistently really plays well, gets them out the shit. Like, he has carried that team. He has absolutely carried that team. And I know a lot of people will go, well, Cunha's carried you a lot, but for a lot of the games, he wasn't in this Wolves side. And arguably,
this winning run, he wasn't in for him.
We played better with him out.
Yep, 100%.
When Bellegarde was fit, we actually played better with Bellegarde in that role because we share the ball a little bit more. We move the ball around. Cunha is a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong, like, he really is, and we are going to miss him because you are going to miss a player of that stature in your club. But I think we've been hurt harder than this in the past. I think Neto at the time when he went, that hurt us loads.
Yeah.
Neves. We're still hurting from Neves. Still hurting from Cody in terms of leadership. We've been hurt more than Cunha, in my opinion. And if it was up to me and you said, get rid of Cunha now while he's worth this much money and he's got this much interest, or keep him around where he doesn't want to be and just let him his value just deteriorate. Doesn't make any sense. You need to
I was just going to say, what are your two thoughts on the price? Because I don't think it's bad. Do you think it should be a lot more? Because the thing is, I don't think it's too bad. I also think you've got to take into the account that he is going to be 26, I think, pretty soon. I think it's a number of weeks and he turns 26. There's a lot of clubs that have like a 24, 25-year-old limit. Mm-hmm. Also, I look at other players that have been sold, like Elise, for example. He went for 40 million. I think he was a great player. He's at Bayern Munich. He's doing amazing. He's worth like 80 million now. You've got like who was the striker at Villa? Was it Duran?
Duran, yeah.
Duran.
Yeah. He went for 60 million. He was like 23. Everyone wanted him. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying he's better, but I'm just saying like that. I just think it is quite fair money. Maybe
I think
we
should be picking up a good whack for him. To be fair,
yeah.
I think he's going to be on a lot of people's top Premier League players list this season.
Yeah.
When you look at like all the players that have played this season, a lot of the reasons that why teams have done well this season don't really fall on one man. A lot of the times, it's a lot of more of a team performance thing. Like you look at Liverpool, Mo Salah, yeah. But a lot of it is down to the fact that they're just a very good team. Arsenal, you know what I mean? Every other team you look at, they've just got a very good squad. Whereas Wolves, at one point, you know, were struggling, and he was the only one really delivering up until a certain point where it started to click in the system. It started to click in general. We didn't. It felt like we haven't needed him as much. But I'll be honest, like. I just don't understand United, man. I really don't get that move at all. Even from a PR perspective, like surely, like you've already had problems this season with your anger management. Going to United is like throwing fucking fuel in the fire. Like literally, there's a giant fire, and you're just getting all your fuel, and it's going whack because it's already, a hot pan over there.
Yeah.
Like over there at the moment, every player that's gone there, you look at players that have left since have done better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every player that's been there looked shit, and then you go, oh God, they're bad. And then they go somewhere else and they look great. It's coming to a point now where their thing that they do when they're losing a football match is put Harry Maguire on as a 9.
Yeah.
That's the level we're at now. I know it works, but that's where we're at.
Yeah.
It's a big target. It's a big target.
The great Manchester United, right? Fucking literally are relying so heavily on this Europa League. It could actually mean the difference of like one of probably the worst transfer windows for them next season if they don't get Europe.
I don't think they will. I think they'll lose on Thursday.
Hope so.
And
they're
that's
so
Spanish
poor.
international, the winger that everyone said he's completely out of the game. Is it Nico Williams?
Yeah.
They've just announced that he's back, he's going to play, and the United fans are like all really upset about it. And he was even in the press conference today. He's like, "Yeah, I'm back," and they're literally having a breakdown.
Amazing.
So, I don't think they're going to give the Twitter back to Onana anytime soon, are they? Jesus Christ! But in terms of the Man City game, guys, predictions.
I'll let Dan go first.
2-1 Wolves.
Oh, a new scoring because you got it right last time.
I did. I'm going to say Aït-Nouri and Cunha, of course. Cunha will score.
Yeah, Cunha probably will fucking score actually, and then United fans will jizz themselves. Oh, he's going against City. Ooh.
I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw.
Do you think it'll be quite a boring game?
It's what, sorry?
Do you think it'll be quite a boring game? Like a chess game?
Yeah. To be honest, I just don't think they're going to score as many goals as some people think, City, because I just generally think our defence at the moment is one of the best in the league. I think the way the manager's got us set up, I think we're quite a hard team to break down. And especially with their injuries they've got. And let's face it, some of the players they've got up front are quite lightweight because Hond is going to be on the bench. He's not going to play Hond. So then they've got, and I think that's the kind of players that Agba loves going up against. Literally just destroy him. So yeah, I think, and I think Totti's gone under the radar. I think he's been really good.
Yes, he has, yeah.
And now we've got Doherty, who obviously came back from injury, subbed off. I wouldn't be surprised if he'll maybe play nearly the whole match minutes. And he's been fantastic. And he's a player really that needs a lot of credit, because I remember a year ago people were saying, Matt Hobbs, what the hell were you thinking signing him on a free? It got to be one of the worst transfers we've done in years. People were saying a year ago, and on different podcasts I heard, and look at him now.
How times have changed.
It's been fantastic, and for me, he's a legend. Some of the goals, I always remember that goal he scored against Man City when we had the comeback. Was it a 3-2 and he scored one of the goals? Yeah, he's just a legend, and I think he's a great player to have around. We've already got problems with the number of foreign players we're allowed in the squad, so to have him there and his leadership and everything, and always playing with a smile on his face, he's definitely a great player. But yeah, I think defence-wise, we look great, and I think it's going to be a lot harder than...
Who scores in your 1-1?
I think it'll be Larson. Larson, when he gets a goal, he's just buzzing again, isn't he? He goes for a stage where he'll not get a goal, and then he'll get a goal, and he's got that big smile on his face.
Quang like scoring against City, doesn't
The Korean guy.
Actually.
Yeah. Quite funny. Off the bench.
It's a real shame what happened to Wang, because last season he was unbelievable. Yeah, it's a real shame. But I don't really know.
I think he was good, though, because Gary O'Neill played a system that helped him. I think that's what happened. And then when he got absolutely fatigued out of his mind when he was on his international duty. Like he shouldn't have been playing as many minutes as he did. And it's literally ruined him. It's like actually ruined him. It's going to take him a good while now to get over that.
Yeah.
And I just don't think he fits this system.
No,
he's not quick enough to be a 10 to sort of transition from a 10 to a winger like Munetzi's doing. And when he gets to a certain area, like he hasn't got the decision. His decision making's terrible.
Yeah.
So I really don't know. Yeah, exactly what Joe's saying here. Look what happened to Xerxes at Man United, because obviously we're still talking about the fact that United are a poison chalice. They are. There's no denying it. Every single player that goes to United have either done really well and left and they're doing even better, or are absolutely shocking and have left, or even more natural to United, are literally stinking up the place there. Literally, like it's like an old age pensioners retreat over there at the moment. It's ridiculous.
It amazes me though how they can be absolutely trash, and then they go on loan, and then within like a month they're amazing again. Like Real Betis are desperate to sign Anthony because he's been that good, but yet at Man U he was terrible. What did they do there?
You know what? I reckon 1-0 penalty to Wolves.
We haven't had one yet, have we?
Exactly.
Who takes the penalty, Larson or Cunha?
Got to be Cunha, isn't it? Munetzi takes the pen.
Yeah.
And misses.
Oh, bless him. Bless him.
I tell you what, though, if he gets worked on in training and really improves his taking his shots and scoring, he's going to be he's a one hell of a player anyway now for us. But if he can just find that part of his game,
he doesn't look like he sweats either, does he?
No, he's just used to running around, isn't he?
You got an interview after. He's like, I think I had a good game, and you're like, dude, you've just been running around for you've literally not stopped, man.
Yeah,
I'm tired looking at you, and he's just there like, very good game, and really well demeaned and everything. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, man, I'm going for a 1-0 boring ass game, real chess match of a football match.
And you watch a score in the first 5 minutes, and then have to squeaky bomb the rest of the match.
We'll frustrate them. We'll frustrate them for sure, because they desperately need to keep making way up the league, because they've got to be looking down at everyone else and going, fucking no. So they'll be up for it, but I think Wolves will be up for it, man.
Yeah, I think all that
6 on the bounce, and now going against the top 6 side to prove that it wasn't just a bit of a fluke. Massive that is, mate. Tell you what.
Did you see the Premier League post that they put up, and it was a table of the form in the top 5 leagues?
Yeah.
And I noticed all the Wolves players were liking it. Joe Gomez, cheeky like.
Yeah.
Loads of them were liking it. And it was saying that they are the most informed team in the world.
I shared that on my Facebook, and I tagged a Villa fan I know in it, and he was like, "Who have you beat in the top 6?" I was like, "Don't matter."
Does that
Don't
even
matter.
matter? The way the Premier League is at the moment as well, it's actually harder to beat the teams where you should be beating.
Yeah. They lost
Because
to Palace,
the
didn't they?
emphasis is on you, then, isn't it? The emphasis on you. All the pressure's on you. Do you know what I mean? Like, wherever you go to a match like Man City, we've got nothing to lose. If we lose that game after winning 6 on a row, is anyone really going to give 2 shits? No.
As long as they play well, no one's going to care.
But if Man City lose that game, mate, honestly, I am scared about losing Vitor. I am. I genuinely am. Because it's going to take one team to go, he's doing bits over there. I think we should get him in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he'll go, man. He's got no ties to Wolves.
I assume this is the only game on Friday night on TV. It's the big game.
I think so.
Friday night, 8 o'clock.
That's the issue. Every football fan in the country will be like, "Oh, I ain't got much planned Friday night. I'll tune in and watch the game," and then they'll be like, "We should really go for that Joe Gomez or that Andre," and all of a sudden, loads of eyes on Wolves on the manager because it's
do, man. They'll go, "Oh, bloody hell, he's good at the back, isn't he?"
But I hope they do, because I don't think enough people, neutral fans, are bigging up Agba, and I think
I don't want him to, though, John. I don't want him
to. But at some point, though, I want people to know how good he is, because we know, and I want to share that with other people. It's really annoying that everyone says like Virgil van Dijk's the best defender in the world,
and he's just not.
And I'm like, he's really good, but I see like Agba developing to be a top defender, and I'm like, we've got Agba. He's 26. He's amazing. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
He makes the game look easy, though, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean?
I like it when he did that little run.
Yeah. He just ran over like, is it? Oh yeah, that's my ball. And the guy's like,
they went,
it's yours. Yeah.
My only problem is I don't want him to. Sometimes he gets that. He thinks it's that easy. He starts getting a little bit laid back. He can't do that against City. And then, because usually he makes a mistake and then he'll chase back and he'll put in a great tackle and win the ball back. But he's got to be fully switched on against City.
I've got a question for you, John.
Yeah.
3 teams have gone down, haven't they now?
Yeah.
Southampton, Leicester, Ipswich.
Yeah.
Any players from there in those teams at the moment that you'd be thinking, ooh,
yeah,
I'll have a bit of that next season?
I've already thought about this. So first of all, we're going to lose Big Sam in goal, because I think he wants to go and be Southampton, and I think he's going to go and get some game time somewhere and be first choice. You know what? I would actually probably go in, because I think we're going to have an English player. I would go in for Palmer from Ipswich, because I don't think he's that bad. He made one mistake against Wolves. But apart from that, though, he's actually been really good.
And the irony is named fucking Palmer as well.
Yeah.
He nearly palmed it in his own fucking net.
Literally. But I think I think we have to replace him with a homegrown player. So I think because we haven't got him in the squad. So I think I wouldn't mind him. And also, I quite like the look of the player that plays as number 10 for Ipswich. Is it Enciso, the one that's on loan from Brighton?
Brighton,
yeah. I think he looks quite good. And I also quite like the Leicester attacking midfielder. I think he's from Morocco. He had number 11 on his back when we played. He's Moroccan. I think he's got a £20 million release clause.
El Kanouche.
Yeah. I think when Leicester were confirmed relegated, his release clause activated, and I think it's around 25 million euros, which is about 22 million quid. I think they paid 20 for him. They paid 20 million for him. And he's the one player really that Leicester fans are saying actually had a decent, not a bad season. And I think with decent service round him, he could be a top player. He's already got into the Morocco national team. So yeah, he's a player to keep an eye out. And I think, as Ben Jacobs said, maybe Cameron Archer, but I think he hasn't really done that great at some of his clubs. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Hobbs or Jaffa looking at him due to his homegrown status. But
That Patson Daka looks all right. I like that. Patson Daka's a good little attacker. He's quite young, isn't he?
yeah, Leicester, yeah, he's not too bad actually. And obviously, I think the first one everyone's going to say is Delap, but we just haven't got room in the squad for him. We've lost too much of a similar profile, but it's obviously for a lot of clubs that's a great sign for his £30 million release clause.
He'll go to United because they won't fucking do it. In terms of Southampton, maybe Tyler Dibbling.
How about that Onachu, that big striker?
Yeah.
The massive. I mean, he's not bad with his feet either. To be fair, I mean, he's
quite
30.
old, though, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, he's 6'8" or something stupid, isn't he? So yeah.
We've already got a big tall man. Don't have to play it.
That's about
Kyle Walker-Peters would be a good one because he's also English as well.
And he's free. Is that my microphone that's crackling or your?
Might be yours. Let me see. Hang on.
Hello.
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 It's you, John.
My speaker. To be fair, I think Tyler Dibbling would be a great signing, but there's rumours that Tottenham like him, and because of that, they put the price right up, like they normally do. If Man United are linked with someone, they put the price right up, but there's rumours that they want like 40-45 million for him, which we're just not going to pay. But he will be a top player. Give it a couple of years, I just know he's going to be a top player. But for me, that Brighton lad that's on loan at Ipswich is probably one of the best ones. I think he's really good. I know some people don't rate him, but I always thought he was really good when he was at Brighton, and he's obviously been on loan at Ipswich, and he looks pretty decent to me.
Mate, Liam Delap, 38 million. That's mad. That is, man.
He's a rat. I hate him.
Who's this?
Liam Delap.
Yeah. He's a great player, but I think he's too similar to Larson. I think he's building everything the way he plays.
Anyway, I know there's some background noise, but that's all right because we're pretty much done anyway, guys. We're wrapping up. I'm really, really impressed with Vitor this season. I'm really impressed with the 6 wins on the bounce. And you know what? Why not? Why not dream? Go to City, get a result, make them look shit, and put all the eyes on us, man. Why not? But yeah, been a pleasure, lads, and I want to say thank you again to Ben Jacobs that was on here earlier as well for giving up some time and talking to us as well. And but yeah, anything you guys want to say?
No, just up the walls, and hopefully we get 3 points.
Yes, Les.
I mean, that's after the points, don't we?
Points and then the pints.
That's right. That is correct. I don't drink, but
points and then a pint of Pepsi.
Squash, Pepsi cherry, yeah, Pepsi Max cherry.
Oofed.
Yeah.
All right. See you later, guys. Catch you later.
Bye bye.
See you later. Bye bye.